stranger. And I'm sure that the first thing you learn in first grade is not to have any truck with strangers who show up naked in your favorite secret spot and know your name and tell you not to tell your mom and dad. I wonder if today is the day we're supposed to meet for the first time, or if it's some other day. Maybe I should be very silent, and either Claire will go away, and I can go munch up those apples and steal some laundry, or I will revert to my regularly scheduled programming. I snapped from my reverie to find Claire staring straight at me. I realized, too late, that I have been humming along with her. Who's there? Claire hisses. I'm thinking fast. Greetings, Earthlings, I intone, kindly. Well, we've got two questions for you now, if you listen like a bit. Kind of always there in the One is for the US. And first, we have this one, which comes from Esme, who's in the Charente area of France.
Hello, hi, hello, Audrey. My name's Esme, and I live in France. Do you think Claire and Henry's relationship is a happy one? Thank you.
My name is Mike Thorne. I'm a retired psychology professor at Mississippi State University. My question is as follows. Did it ever occur to Audrey that some, perhaps many, readers will perceive the relationship between a time traveler and a little girl from the past?
Well, do you think that ever occurred to you? Because certainly the first time Claire sees Henry, this naked adult man, and she's a little girl. Yeah, it was meant to be incredibly uncool. I mean, if you're reading this and you don't think that's a bad idea, I'm a little worried about you. Well, I have to say I find it quite disturbing. Yeah, no, it's supposed to be a bad idea. I'm hoping to show that these are two people who are stuck in an enormous causal loop. When Henry meets Claire for the first time, she's 20, he's 28, and she's just this attractive woman, and she knows all about him, and she's known him since she was 6. He's like, oh boy, hi. She, on the other hand, meets him for the first time when she's 6. It was the first thing in my private secret favorite thought. Yeah, it's supposed to hit everybody as, oh no, I want you to be worried for her. We've got a secret now from Mariana in Uruguay, and she ran this into our book club.
Upon managing how their stories see the written in the stars or consequence of a trip to her childhood. Would we have gotten married if she never fell to go there because she was his safe place? Can't think about it.
Trying to tease out whether Henry and Claire's relationship is inevitable, whether it's predestined, or whether it's childhood rather than childhood of anyone else. Again, it's the causal loop. If he never traveled to his child, it's somewhat unlikely that she would have asked him out on a date the first time she laid eyes on him. When Henry and Claire first meet, he's involved with somebody else, Ingrid. Not a particularly healthy relationship, but a very intense one. Henry, that he is monogamous. And so he wouldn't, I think, have veered off of that relationship quite at that moment for anybody else but this woman who seems to know him oh so well. I think that what I've done in the novel is I've created two characters whose choices are very narrow. They don't always feel like they're making choices. But I wouldn't call it fate necessarily, and some people start talking soulmates and
was chosen by Chile's left-wing president Gabriel Boric to coordinate the official events marking the 50th anniversary. During a radio interview, he said that the causes of that tragic event could be discussed, but the events after the coup were absolutely unacceptable. For some listeners, that condemnation didn't go far enough. His remarks sparked an outcry from human rights groups and some members of the Communist Party who condemned his words and demanded his resignation. My friend Maria, who's in her 70s and was exiled for many years during Pinochet's regime, rolls her eyes, sighs, and says, "The right and left are like some ridiculous and dangerous club. They need to think about us and not their petty spats." Maria and others I spoke to are worried that just like back in 1973, politicians are stoking division instead of tackling the daily issues which concern people.
Jane Chambers, ending this edition. I'm Christine Hunter. The producers were Julie Ball and Simon Tulett. We'll be back with more stories from around the world next weekend and from our own correspondent here on the BBC World Service.
This is the BBC World Service, where we're getting lost in nature. We're in the Bielaveja primeval forest in Poland.
This forest is continuously existing here for 12,000 years.
I'm with the field recordist Izabela Dworzyk.
We are in the habitat of the Narewka River, which is more like a wetland.
It's rare to be a young woman in her profession, but what's even more unusual is that Isabella is blind and has never seen the creatures and landscapes she's recording. Join me, Monica Whitlock, as Isabella guides us through the forest.
It is a place of freedom. I feel at home.
Isabella in the forest, Tuesday at 1:30 and 8:30 GMT. Or listen now at bbcworldservice.com.
I'm Rachel Schreier, and coming up, conspiracy theories about viruses and vaccines exploded in recent years. But something arguably stranger has also spiraled.
I think the whole idea of infectious diseases that you can catch from someone else is an absolute myth.
In South Africa, germ-denying influencers are awakening painful memories. That's BBC Trending, coming up after the latest world news.
BBC News. The president of the Spanish Football Federation, Luis Rubiales, has resigned. Mr. Rubiales had until now refused to quit after he forcibly kissed one of the players in Spain's winning Women's World Cup team in August. He has insisted the kiss was consensual. Rescuers have stepped up their efforts to find survivors of Friday's earthquake in Morocco, which has killed more than 2,100 people. The Moroccan government says it has so far accepted aid from 4 countries, Britain, Spain, Qatar, and the UAE. Nearly 50 people have been killed in the south of the Sudanese capital, Khartoum. Residents accuse the army of targeting a market with drones. The military denies targeting civilians. The presidents of Chile and Mexico have made a joint appeal for the strengthening of democracy in Latin America as they marked the 50th anniversary of the military coup led by General Pinochet. A coalition of armed groups in northern Mali that was part of a 2015 peace agreement has said it's getting ready to defend against attacks by the army. It's urged civilians to move away from military facilities. An official Israeli delegation is in Saudi Arabia for the first time, despite the two countries having no diplomatic relations. The delegation is attending a UNESCO conference. 4 young people have been killed when a commuter train hit them as they tried to cross a railway line in northeastern Spain. The accident just north of Barcelona happened when a group of people crossed at an unauthorized point. In tennis, Novak Djokovic from Serbia is leading 2-0 against Russia's Daniil Medvedev in the final of the US Open in New York. Djokovic won the second set after a nail-biting tiebreak. BBC News.